I put this slide presentation together because I'm concerned about what I'm seeing in the Redland, in Homestead, in the surrounding area. And the photos from walks that I took every day after work during COVID, um, basically took an hour, hour and a half just before sunset to walk the different fields, etc. Um, and
Oh, you shouldn't just be pointing this way here to this machine. It's like, well,
no, it's not going forward. So let's see. Okay. So much for the pointer. Anyway, what do you know of the Redland? You may think of it as where the monkey jungle is, so where Robert is here. He is Fruit and Spice Park, and maybe even a wedding place or a location where they have weddings or parties, etc. But there is a lot more to it. It's a large agricultural area, 85,000 acres, close to a metropolitan area. And Miami is now the seventh largest metropolitan area in the United States. And to have such a large agricultural area, 20 miles just due south of that large metropolitan area is indeed very special and not very common, I'll say that. It is changing, and that's what made me kind of put this presentation together. I do a walk through the Redland or through the agricultural area, and maybe 6 months later, I walk it again and see a for sale sign. And maybe a couple of months later, see bulldozers. And so that's kind of what gave me the impetus to put this presentation together. What is the Redland? Okay, the Redland is, they incorporated back in the early 1900s. They are no longer incorporated, but officially they named the area west of Crone, ending in the Everglades, south of Eureka, north of Biscayne Boulevard. But today, you'll hear people, talk about the Redlands where it could be in Homestead, Florida City, what have you. But officially, that's what was incorporated. For whatever reason, they disincorporated it in the about 20 years later. I should say it's called the Redland and not the Redlands. They officially, when they incorporated, didn't want to compete with the Redlands, the city of Redlands, California. So they specifically made it singular. Now, what's so special about this area? Well, it didn't really exist farming-wise, or really in any way sense except for indigenous folks on the coast, until about 1898. And that's when the first homestead came down of Mr. Biznell, I forget his first name, and he basically staked it out. And, like we all know with the Homestead Act, you basically tell the government you're going to live and work the land, and hopefully within a certain number of years, you own that land that you've homesteaded. So he was the first homestead. But the area at that time was not particularly that good for large-scale farming, because it would have, we all know, what happens when we dig at home in our backyard, we hit rock, right? Well, guess what? That's what the problem was. Except there would be patches. The largest would be 1 acre size of red soil, hence the name Redland. And there'd be a patch here, patch over there, patch over there, patch over there. So you as a farmer, basically, and you had a truck or tractors or whatever, you could live in town and then go out to your fields, scattered where they might be. And that's kind of why the Redland never really became this subsistence farming. That, because farms weren't large, you could also, because Flagler's train had already gone down to the Keys, and Homestead was one of the stations, Homestead, Princeton, etc. So your family, you could live in town, go to church, send the kids to school, etc., and then you would just head out to your patches of land that you were farming. So that characteristic of the Redland still exists today, because I think what's amazing is over 50, I think it's 54% of farmland is farmed in 9 acres or less. So that still is a characteristic of the Redlands today. In fact, I have relatives that have avocado groves and 35 acres, but they're in 7 different locations. So that's the Redlands.
Let me ask you, the red land that it was on, I guess that was brought in, or was that native?
As I said, the Redland, there were patches of red soil.
Oh, there are.
What I'm trying to get to next is what changed it a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
So, I think it was 1914 or 1912, a man called Lindgren patented a machine that scarified. In other words, dug the rock underneath, plowed it, leveled it, and made it so farmers could farm it. And that obviously helped significantly in farming in the area. But let's go back to what I said, even today, these farms aren't big. You know, a large percent of them are still under 9 acres. There was never really subsistence farming that we know, you know, where somebody sets up a farm, has cows, has pigs, has chickens, you know, be able to live on their farm without going to town, you know, except maybe once a month. There was no need for that. Flagler's Railroad came by, delivered eggs, milk, etc., on a daily basis. There was no need to do that. So it's not the farmland that most Americans think of when they think of farmland. They're not big red barns with silos, with cows, chickens, etc. If you see something that looks like a red barn, chances are they board horses. So it's a different looking farmland. And I think because of that, people don't really necessarily think of it as an agricultural area, because again, it doesn't meet their definition of what farmland would look like. But as you can see, you know, there are large areas where it is farmed, and we are a semi-tropical environment, which means most farmland can be farmed year-round. What's also crucial is that, you know, you hear of the promises of crop rotation. There should be crop rotation. That is easily achieved in this area, because maybe snap beans are grown at this time of the year, and then the next crop is tomatoes. You know, the same field can produce 3, 4, sometimes 5 different things during a year. But it's also kind of interesting how you kind of see the farmland. This is in a church's backyard, and this is kind of homestead in the Redland area where, you know, people live and there are businesses, things, but just walk outside the door, maybe walk down the steps a ways, and there's a plowed field waiting for seeds. So let's talk. I would talk about rotation of crops. You can rotate crops, but also there's companies that handle things differently. So, for example, if you have an avocado grove, well, you got trees, and that's basically all you're going to produce, and when's the season, etc. But someone like Damari, who is the largest grower of tomatoes in the United States, what they'll do is they'll take over fields from, August through February, grow tomatoes, and then literally in February, pick up, and I'm talking about salespeople to, you know, field workers, etc., pick up, go to Tampa, where they can continue growing there for several months, and again, pick up and go to California, Indigo, California, and grow tomatoes out there when it's optimal growing out there. That's how Damari handles it. But no matter what, I've always find it interesting that in a matter of weeks, things will grow, things are available, rotation of crops. We grow a lot of things, but what I find interesting is when there's uh, when one crop's been taken and a field is waiting for a new crop, someone will come in and throw sunflowers in. 3, 4 weeks later, sunflowers are gone, we're waiting for the next crop. That's how quickly things can change in the Redland. The reason why I'm doing this presentation was, not only was I walking the Redland, I was working for a company, Brooks Tropicals, and one day I found that I was asked to go on a bicycle tour on a Miami-Dade county park was having a bike tour. Would I go with them? I thought, oh, sure, I'll be happy out so I get my bike and off we go. 2 hours riding our bicycle through the Redland. And not once did we stop and talk about what was growing on both sides of the road, And I finally stopped and said, stop, everybody, papayas. I just thought that was so amazing that a tour of the Redland could occur without talking about what exactly is growing there. So what do we grow down there? Well, we grow squash, beans, almost any kind of beans, sugarcane, tomatoes, pickling cucumbers. It's amazing the array. And that's just non-tropicals. Tropicals, we grow avocados, mangoes, star fruit, passion fruit, papaya, dragon fruit. It's amazing what can be grown. And because we're a semi-tropical environment, it can be grown almost all year round. Tropicals, not so much, because the heat and the humidity that we have in our summer is really the only time they can grow. But everything else, squash, beans, corn, etc., can be grown almost year round. So in a matter of weeks, things grow. And that's always what was nice about walks through the agricultural area, just seeing things grown. Beans are very big. We have 85,000 acres of agriculture in South Miami-Dade. And that's divvied between what I would call produce, tropicals, and ornamentals. Ornamentals are a big part of agriculture in South Dade. The reason why I even wondered about this, I see all the, nurseries, etc. But I went to the Miami-Dade Youth Fair, and they have a big 4-H tent. And one year I walked in, everything was landscape plants for the 4-Hers. That was their projects. And there was only one little corridor for produce. So it's, Dade County is second county in the United States for providing ornamental plants, foliage plants for the rest of the United States. That's how big of a business it is. So it's so my walks are throughout. There are certain things to kind of know. We know that a lot of crops can be grown year, but what does that mean to the farmer? And you're going to find, what I find interesting is 95% of the farms in South Dade are family oriented. Now, bear in mind, the company I work for, Brooks Tropicals, that could be considered a family-oriented company because the owner and the officers were Brooks, were of the Brooks family, etc. But nonetheless, for 95% to be family-owned, I think that says a lot. But what do? You have 5 acres. Maybe you are just the owner and you rent it out to different farmers. Great, you can do that. Or maybe you farm it, but you're like, gosh, I need somebody to pick it. Well, do you go and find people to pick, out of the blue? No, there are companies, services that will say, you can call, I need this picked on these dates. They'll come with machinery, etc., pick it. Do you pack it? no, that can be packed over here. So there's folks and companies that'll meet every single need. So you, the farmer, can really just own 5 acres and let other people farm it, other people maintain it, other people pick it, pack it, ship it, sell it, That's all there. That's how flexible the economy is down in South Dade.
Mm.
Now, I should note that,
No wonder that doesn't exist anymore.
well, it's
Because the owners are not interested in really keeping their property.
I'm going to talk about that. So let me go on. You see older houses in Miami-Dade, homesteading houses or tenant workers that live down there. This house is owned by the Crone. We are talking of the Crones from Avenue. And their house used to be situated, it's on Avocado Drive, just west of Crone Avenue, and it used to be surrounded by avocado groves. Notice the past tense. They've been sold, bulldozed, the avocado groves have been bulldozed, the house remains, but they are building, actually, they've already built homes on that property. But I should note what's interesting about South Dade is because you have year-round farming, we don't have migrant workers. We have a steady worker that maintains and picks. And it works out to everybody's, it works out for everybody, You, the farmer, don't have to worry about having the necessary paperwork if the USDA comes by and demands paperwork on the people picking your field or whatever. It's Grove Services. You, the worker, can work for Grove Services, work year-round, and, have benefits and vacation like other people with a full-time job. So it works out quite nicely for almost everybody involved. We talked about landscaping plants. There's over 1,500 landscape companies in the area. Thinking the agriculture in South Dade provides over $858 million to the economy, and landscaping plants are almost half of that. So it is a big portion of what's happening down in the South Dade area. Now, I talk about different people doing different things for you, etc. But there are occasions when it's just one person. This is a 3-acre banana farm. One person does all the planting, does all the picking, and he even, you'll see him at the farmer's market in downtown South Miami when they have the farmer's market. So you can do everything is what I'm trying to emphasize. So again, you'll see a lot, it's a beautiful area to be able to walk. There are seasons, like avocados have a season. It kind of starts mostly in May, goes through January. But you have to think in terms of if you're the farmer of avocados, you want to be able to provide your customers, Publix, Kroger, restaurants, cruise ships, something year-round. So someone like Brooks Tropicals will not only grow avocados in this area, but will also grow avocados in Western Florida, in the Caribbean, South America, so they can provide avocados year-round. They find that they don't want to necessarily just be a seasonal player, because if you're a seasonal player, then you kind of disappear, and then you have to come back in and reestablish your markets. This is not the Haas avocado, it's a tropical avocado. Haas avocados are grown in dry environments. As we know, Miami is anything but dry. It's an avocado with a higher water content. And I will just say this, if you've had one and thought you prefer the Haas better, get one of those dry packets of guacamole mix in the grocery store, where all the herbs and spices are all dried up. Make your guacamole with that mix the night before, so that the avocado can absorb and plump up all those ingredients. And then, all you have to do, and the guacamole won't brown, there'll be a slim layer of water on the top, pour that off, and have some great guacamole the next day. I should say, just to give you an example of what I want to be geographically dispersed as a farmer, not only seasonally, but hurricanes and storms. For example, Hurricane Andrew knocked down 90% of the trees, I'm sorry, 70% of the trees, avocado trees. They were propped back up, 90% of those were saved, but they did not resume to pre-Andrew volumes until 2017. So to be out of the market for that long with such few lower volumes is obviously, a big hit to your overall business long term. So, just FYI, this avocado looks like it's ready to eat. The first thing we do, if they don't ripen on the tree, they're not ready to eat on the tree, you have to pick it. And in the summer, the seed might be 120 degrees, so you give it a cold bath, but it should be ripe within a couple of days at your home. I also wanted to share with you stories of what farmers have to put up with. And a good example is avocados. As I told you before, my aunt and uncle have avocado groves in South Dade. These groves were set up by my Aunt Tallulah's mother, Mama Livey, I used to call her. And so they've had these avocado groves since the early 1920s. Problem is that a bug, ambrosia beetle, has come over from Southeast Asia in a pallet over to South Carolina. And they thought it would take 10 years for it to come down south, but it took a couple of years. This beetle burrows itself into the avocado tree, deposits larvae or whatever, prevents water coming up from the roots. The tree dies from the top down. So they've not figured out how to eradicate this. They have figured out that sometimes they can dig a trench around the tree and prevent it from spreading to other trees in the grove. But that, again, is kind of a coin flip as to whether or not that works. So I cannot blame my aunt and uncle, since, it's almost a matter of time before the avocado trees are all infected, since they don't have an answer to how to kill this beetle or whatever. So I can't really blame avocado growers for potentially considering selling to a developer. It's some harsh realities that we all have to face.
Is there any avocado trees that are resistant to the beetle?
Not that we have found, is the bottom line. The beetle likes the family of trees that the avocado trees are in. And unfortunately, if there's an avocado tree, even though there might be other trees around, they love the avocado tree the most. So, just to give you an idea of what farmers face in the tropical area, another example, the company I work for used to supply the nation with 60% of their lines. Well, I don't know if you've heard of citrus canker. Citrus canker basically eradicates your, you can't grow citrus without it being GMO with citrus canker is the bottom line. And unfortunately, what the USDA did with pressure from Central Florida orange growers is when it first showed up in South Dade and in the Keys, what they did was if they found a tree that had citrus canker, they cut it down, plus any other citrus tree within a 1,500-foot area. So my father went to work one day, grabbed a tangerine off of his tree, came back home that night to find his tangerine, lime, orange,
Oh my God.
and grapefruit tree gone. Same here. Yeah, we all know. Unfortunately, that really didn't stop citrus canker from heading north. And right now it's gone. I found it on my brother's orange tree in Gainesville, Florida. And right now you can't grow oranges in Central Florida unless they're GMO. So, and most of the orange growers in Central Florida are planting other things. So I have bad news for you. Next time you order key lime pie, that lime didn't come from the Keys. So, yeah, that's what farmers kind of have to deal with. And that's, I think it's important for we Americans to kind of realize that it's a tough lot to be a farmer, regardless of what you grow.
So what is the end? What is the end result? What's going to happen? No more farms in Florida.
Well,
All concrete everywhere.
no, well, I don't know. I mean, that's what it's beginning to look like. I think, let's keep talking and we'll get back to that. So avocados, I did want to give you an idea of what's grown tropically in the South-Dade area. At first, when I saw these cactus looking like plants in South Dade, I thought, cactus growing in a tropical environment, this is dragon fruit. And dragon fruit has a fantastic story to tell. It grows this neon white, huge flower, sometimes a foot, 16 inches wide. And it grows there because on full moon nights, it attracts its date. It has a date on full moon nights with bats. And the bats are the pollinators. And once bats pollinate, the flower kind of withers and the fruit grows around it. And that's dragon fruit. And if it's sporadic pointers, the flesh inside is white. If it's more regularly spaced, etc., the fruit inside is red. If you drive around South Dade and you see bushes or trees with, they're bushes with white bags on them, chances are they're guava. Guava skin is gets so bruised just by rubbing against other leaves and twigs that it's easier to sell a fruit in the grocery store if the skin is not blemished, is the bottom line. So that's why you'll see guava in these white bags. Marjorie Rollins, she used to describe eating guava as eating buckshot, because all the seeds inside of it. We know guava jelly and all like that, but I love eating guava just like an apple. And yeah, you do need to deal with the seeds on every single bite. My favorite fruit, mame sapopote. The Central Americans considered mame the fruit of the gods. And some cultures considered mame an aphrodisiac. It's high in vitamin A, vitamin C. I don't know if you know the shape, but it looks like a football. Brown, rather large. The inside is this wild orange flavor. It's just so delicious. During mame season, I think I have a mame smoothie almost every single day. It is so good. Look at the inside of that mame. It's delicious. Papaya is another one. But again, there's stories to understand where farmers have to deal with. There is a soil disease that impacts papayas. Again, has come over from Asia, we think Southeast Asia area. Unfortunately, got to Hawaii about 2-3 years ago. Now Hawaii cannot grow papayas unless, one, they're picked unripe, which is what they use in salads, Southeast Asian salads. But if you grow them and you want to pick them so they become fully ripe, you're growing GMO papayas. So Hawaii has had soil disease. Mexico, the largest producer of papayas in the world, has just gotten the disease within the last 6 months. So
what happened in the last 6 months?
Well, the disease, the soil disease, has gotten somehow from Hawaii to Mexico. So when you see those signs of not bringing firewood with you over county, I wash the soles of my shoes when I go out of the country, because that's how it's brought in. As our economies have gone global, so is agriculture in many senses of the word. But you'll see how papaya grows, but you'll see the singular papaya bush. It's not a tree. And, you know, someone just enjoyed a papaya and spit out a seed or two, and this is what you get. So it's, what's interesting about papayas is that you don't want them to grow really that high, because when they're around 2 years old, around this height and another 6 to 8 months is when the papaya is the sweetest. So they'll chop it down and throw another seed in, and it's a fast growing bush. So, shouldn't have to wait too long for another set of papayas. Passion fruit is my favorite. When passion fruit's in season, I get a carton of them and I scoop them out and I save them in ice cube trays. So every morning when I microwave my oatmeal, I put a cube of passion fruit on top. Fantastic oatmeal topper. But don't eat the fruit like this. You want to wait until it's kind of old looking, ruddy looking. It's just that the fruit inside is grown ripe on you. So what I love about passion fruit also is it tells you when it wants to be picked. Don't be picking passion fruit. You have, you know, and because the USDA for safe products won't let you pick fruit off the ground. So what do you do with passion fruit who, you know, will tell you when it wants to be picked? You go over, put a bucket under it, and you jiggle the vine. And if it drops into your bucket, it's ready. That's passion fruit. Now, oops. How did passion fruit get its name? Basically because of the flower. I love passion fruit, would call it because of the taste. But the flower, because of the purple and, you know, so many flower petals, so many, you know, represents the apostles or whatever, they literally have passed the story that passion fruit was the flower at the bottom of the cross of, you know, Jesus. So that's the reason. I would passion fruit because of its taste, but just FYI, that's why they call it passion fruit. Lychees, lychees are such a fabulous fruit that Chinese emperors would set up what we would consider a pony express to get them from the field to their homes, to their castles. And God forbid you're behind me and I pass by someone selling lychees on the side of the road, because I'll stop to buy. It's a fantastic fruit. Other things that we grow tropical-wise, logans, boniatos, a wide assortment. Mostly under, all said and done, under 20, 30 acres each. So we do grow corn, about 330 acres. Snap beans are, you'll see them all over South Dade. And once they've got fruit, they have to be picked within every 3 days, otherwise it invites pests. So it's a crop that demands a lot of attention, I'll say that. You'll often see people, trailers, you know, on those farms, just because people are literally there, you know, the full-time, it needs to be picked. All right, melons in the fall, chili peppers, eggplants, star fruit. We grow star fruit, not a lot, but there's 60 acres of star fruit. They're grown under a screen dome to kind of replicate the canopy of trees that they grow under in Southeast Asia. And people go, what do you do with star fruit? I say, well, forget the pineapple. Instead of a pineapple upside down cake, make star fruit upside down cake. Fun to eat. We do have organic farms. Only 1% of the farms in Dade County are organic. It is extremely difficult to be organic farm down in South Dade. I mean, I'll just give you one example. When, you know, the grass grows and it'll grow over the road, and so Miami-Dade will, you know, once or twice a year go along and spray the sides of the road so the road can be drivable. Well, if you're an organic farm, you can't have that spraying going on without some sort of protection for your crops. So it's a difficult road to hoe. This is another problem. This is a trap for Mediterranean fruit fly, and that's put there, and you'll see them all around South Miami-Dade. USDA, if they find Mediterranean fruit fly in that trap, they will quarantine every fruit within, it depends but 1,500, 2,000 feet. So literally, you have to leave your fruit on the tree or on the bush. It cannot be picked. It's kind of the deal we with other agricultural areas like Texas or what have you. They don't want the Mediterranean fruit flies, so close tabs are kept on them just so we can sell into other areas.
These things are killing the birds also.
Oh, well, it's, you know,
Completely.
I've just found that for every problem, that almost every answer is not a complete answer and has all problems of its own.
The lesser of two evils.
Lesser of two evils. Mangoes, we used to be the nation's #1 provider of mangoes. And then when NAFTA came into effect, Mexico was able to undersell. So a lot of our mango groves have been plowed over and other things grown in their absence.
I heard the same thing is happening with dragon fruit. That right now, everybody invested money in dragon fruits, and now foreign farmers are undercutting it and supposedly larger dragon fruits, and it's just devastating.
It's probably the case for almost every single thing that we grow in the area. So, yeah.
Nobody, they should.
Well, they should. But it's a big market. It's a big market. We provide produce for, we're a major vegetable and fruit corridor to the Northeast. Although you'll see the produce out west, it's basically east of the Mississippi, and to be honest with you, it's New York City, getting it there and then distributing it from that point. We now have to expand our definition of agriculture to include aquaculture. So this, for example, is Atlantic Sapphire, a Norwegian company that has spent over $3 million to build a 1.1 million square foot area where they grow and process fish. And they use water from the aquifer, but they also replenish. That's been done in the last 5-6 years.
Tilapia?
Gotta be honest with you, I don't know. You will see livestock, but livestock is less than 1% of the dollar amount that we make in agriculture in the area. All right. So, again, just photos of the area. Now, this Saturday, I am hosting a walk. We've all heard of Biscayne Drive. So basically, we're going out to Biscayne Drive at the very, very end and just taking a walk from Biscayne to Avocado and back. We'll see avocado trees, bean fields, etc. I ask that we start at my house. If you need the address, I'll give that to you, and then we'll go from there. It's just a simple walk, 4 o'clock, so I figure you might get some nice sunset views. You've seen some of the photos I've taken and all. It's a lovely area to walk. It'd be hard to find lots of places to take photographs and enjoy it. I will ask one thing. I have one very, very, very strict rule. You don't pick anything. I can't tell you how many times I go out with people, I'll tell them that, and they'll pick something off of a bush or a vine or a tree, and you're like, that's stealing. So I don't allow it. But the whole purpose of this presentation was to highlight what we do in the South-Dade area for agriculture, and then how it's changing. So obviously I'd be walking. Sometimes I do the same walks. I did these walks for years, and I'd walk through a familiar place and all of a sudden see a for sale sign. And then maybe a month or two later, see it bulldozed. And sure enough, a month or two later, houses being built. The railroad that used to go through the area, this is not Flagler's Railroad, that's the old busway. This is a railroad they put in to basically pick up fruits, vegetables, deliver fertilizers, etc. That is no longer used. They stopped using that about 3-4 years ago. So that's kind of the end. That's
Thank you very much.
thank you for sharing with me, or letting me share with you. It's something I don't have any answers for. I've spoken with Greater Miami-Dade Heritage Trust and all, and it's kind of something that no answers to be held. So unfortunately, but I wanted to share with you because it's a beautiful area, not only for agriculture, but when you think about it, it's also a water recharge area, habitat for wildlife. I always laugh when I think of, during COVID, at one point, the Keys kind of said, we don't want anything from Miami-Dade. No, don't, we're cut off. And one of the commissioners said, do you still want our water? You still want our electricity? Okay, that's a little, but nonetheless, it is a viable reason for having such an area, and we should be proud of it. Hopefully work to protect it in some way. Are there any questions?
No.
All right. Yes, if please RSVP to me if you want to go walk, because I want to start at my house, and I don't want to leave you there if you plan on coming. So definitely, my email is maryostlund@gmail.com, and please send me an email if you plan on coming. So this Saturday, we're going to start at about 4, and we're just trying to get a couple of hours in before sunset. So it's that part of the day when the clouds are the best. So thank you very much.
I would like to please RSVP. We have a bad habit of not RSVPing and then showing up and wondering why we didn't wait. I hate saying it, but it's,
And I'm a punctual person. I'm going on this walk no matter what, and I am leaving my house at 4:15. So, be there or be square.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mary, yeah, I do have one question. One of the things that is being worked to try to give farmers some other options for doing things has been the move to agritourism. Any comments about those kinds of things?
I only say I'm not against agritourism. I'll just say that I think Americans have rather warped ideas of what farmers should be, and at times, for example, the busiest day at Brooks Tropicals at the loading dock is Friday afternoon, where a bunch of small pickups will come, pick up fruit, and then they sell it at the local farmers market as their own. And I don't blame them. It's lucrative, etc. But Americans think, oh, I'm buying from the farmer. When, if they check the recycle bin, they would see the boxes from Brooks Tropicals. And why would you want to buy at a farmer's market when we live in a hot, humid environment, and that's not the best, temperature, et cetera, to be keeping your fruits and vegetables at. So I often think that Americans, like I lived in New Jersey for a while, and I know it's really big up there to go and to walk through a hay maze and buy pumpkins from the local farmer, et cetera. And I often think that kind of deludes who the actual farmer is. God bless people who can be a farmer and ecotourism, but I often find that The tourism part really kind of distorts who the farmer is, what the farmer actually does, so.
I've actually been to the farmer's market in Coral Gables,
Yes.
and I have seen the person open bags of plastic bags from Publix and put the food in little baskets and sell it like it's not farm. God knows produce from where. And I'm like, really? Really? I saw that back in Publix.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I had a friend in New Jersey call me and go, baby, I went to our local farmer's market, and I got one of your avocados, it says Brooks Farmland. I'm like, what about local farmers market?
Yeah,
You're not getting it. So they had to have gone to the store, buy it, because we wouldn't have gone sold to them.
So what do you recommend, for example?
I recommend knowing the farmers. For example, your supermarkets, Publix does a really good job of it, Sprouts does a really good job of it. They have what they call food safety requirements and produce safe requirements. And you can't really sell to them unless you meet these USDA requirements. And they do that, and then they, within their own business, keep the right level of humidity, keep the right temperatures, the food at the right temperatures, right cleanliness, etc. I think that's key.
So it's not a good idea to have farming in South Florida.
Oh, I think it's a fantastic idea to have it. I think it's, I
The way
would,
that you're explaining doesn't make sense to me to be a farmer.
I'm saying it's tough to be a farmer. And we should be more
Understanding?
understanding. That's all I'm saying.
And if I may add, I'm sorry.
Please
But
do.
I remember
You have to understand that organic farming here in South Florida is probably impossible.
Yeah.
But there is non-organic farming, GMO, organic farming cannot supply food for the world. You know, sadly, I wish everything was organic, but the reality of it can't.
Plus, they are spraying with chemicals, the rivers, the lakes,
Everything.
we are being poisoned by the spraying.
But that's just realistic. But, you know, we have GMO products. Right now, bananas are a problem because the Cavendish is now getting infected. So they have to find a solution,
Yeah.
you know, and it's amazing. Now, you're saying about avocado, I have a beautiful avocado tree. Tastes better than a Haas. It's some weird thing. It was there when I bought the house.
Yeah.
One time I went to Spain, flowers, the little avocados everywhere. I got back after 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, there's no avocados on the floor. The tree must be huge. They picked it clean. Now one single avocado was left on my tree.
Where do you live?
South Miami, 3 miles from
My
me.
sister in Peru have two humongous avocado trees that they fall on the ground, and there's not enough people to get them.
Each tree, avocado tree, mango tree, when it comes to fruition, and that's 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks when it's got fruit, but it's got fruit. I'll tell you, I had a mango tree, and here's what I would do. Oh, I would basically take a couple mangoes, tell my landscaper who mows my yard, tell your folks they can have all the mangoes on the tree. Otherwise, you're getting raccoons, rats, etc.
Oh, yeah. I got 2 mango trees. That's what I do.
Yeah,
And the avocados, I tell the neighbors, hey, if you see an avocado you like, take it.
it's yours.
It's yours. But I say that, you know, not like when they stole my pineapple, which I'm still to this day bitter. The best pineapple I ever grew. Beautiful. I'll take it one more day. I'm leaving the house. I slam on my brake and I'm like, my pineapple. And pineapple takes years.
Yeah.
It isn't like you have a pineapple every year. You know, you plant that sucker and it'd be 2 years. In my case, it was over 2 years for that pineapple.
When I walk the field, the agricultural
Because
field,
there is this bill that the Senate is trying to pass to convert all the agricultural land into high-density clusters.
high density clusters of what? Agriculture or?
No, real estate. In other words, disappearing
What's
the
the
farmlands.
bill
What's the
number?
bill number again?
1118,
1118. Are we talking Florida Senate?
yes.
All right. I don't know anything about it. check. So,
I mean, to me, that,
Senator,
yeah, I drive to Clewiston on 27, and you still see the farms over there.
oh, yeah. Palm Beach, we are the second largest agricultural county in the state of Florida. You would think we'd be third, fourth, or fifth. We're in the second. The first is Palm Beach County. So I would have thought, in central Florida, it'd be, no, Miami-Dade is the second largest county, agricultural county.
Well, they're trying to get rid of all the agricultural lands.
it's complicated. I would have
It's-
to read it. I can't even make sense of it in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's already done.
Yeah.
July 1st, 2025 takes effect.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's a done deal. I would.
Done deal.
No, because I was
But
trying to, if there's anything we can do to stop that bill,
it's done.
It's
but I
done.
did,
It's done, 7/1/2025. And I think it's really, from what I really, please do not hold me to this, it just makes it easier for them to convert land into what they're.
Well, I don't see any hindrance to it, is the bottom line, and I've not seen any hindrance to it. And I know from personal experience, my own family, literally their avocado groves the trees will probably be dead within the next 5 to 10 years.
oh my goodness.
So, you know what I mean? I can't blame them for selling.
In other words, Robert is here, is going to be,
You understand he's in trouble. But look at the largest mall that's going to be built, the Everglades, and it was opposed, and it was basically the mayor of Miami-Dade, it was Miami-Dade, please
Yeah.
correct me, vetoed it, and then they went back and overrode the veto.
Yeah.
And now I drove by because I worked in Maryland. It's just
Where was it?
massive.
where the thing,
Right in the border, between Dade and Broward, right on the turnpike.
yes.
And if you drive by, you will see they're filling out a lake. It's just absolute devastation.
Yeah.
And then, eventually, let's face it, malls will be non-existent soon enough.
Well, I was about to say, a little too late for a mall,
It's
isn't
the
it?
same as the Mall of the Americas, that giant thing. It's the
Yeah.
same company. They're
Um,
doing the same thing down here, which is sad.
very-
But like I said, as that, buy local, you can. There's a lot of supermarkets that tells you exactly where the fruit comes from. And sometimes buy in season.
Yeah.
We've gotten spoiled to the point that we can have strawberries and everything year
Yeah.
round. Well, year round, you end up with a lower quality fruit. If you buy in season, you'll get. But also, we grow things. Grow some stuff in your own property. Sorry, my dad was a farmer.
No, that's
And I come from farming
No,
background. So
no,
I understand the plight.
no, it's a plight that we need to talk about. I'm grateful for, what you're throwing out and that we're letting us discuss.
No, I mean, to me, it's horrible. I drive to the end, I grew up in Clewiston, and my parents still have houses over there. And
Yeah.
I love driving over there because I still feel I'm part of the land.
Yeah.
But down here, it's going and going and going. And now this bill, they're going to try to finish it off.
Yep, they will.
Yeah.
They will. Sadly, they will.
They should not touch the Everglades.
I wish that I had a slide that would be action plan, what we should do next. I don't.
And money, I keep saying, money talks. And money gets things done.
Yeah,
That's very sad.
Even,
it's very sad. It's very sad.
you know,
So I had asked some people to come. I give this presentation, and I was hoping that they would come, but anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you for your attention.
The other thing,
Yeah.
I think it's,
Oh, well,
there's better ways of doing a Zoom, because for me, which I have a problem in my house, I have a big computer screen, but the Zooms don't work for
Well,
me. Because
that's why
number
a
one, if that
hybrid
is
meeting
the
like
image,
this.
if this is the image that Ira and company are looking at, it's terrible.
No, they're looking at the.
A Chamberlain Club has the worst Zoom presentation.
Well, that's why we have hybrid meetings.
Exactly. It all depends on your internet connection speed. It depends on so many things. How your computer's connected. It's just very hard to troubleshoot a personal.
When I said about the lighting, there was a moment at the beginning, before you started talking, that you moved over here, and then they can see you at least from here to here, and they can understand what you're saying. Over there, nobody ever saw you at home. Nobody. You are in the worst lighting position. We are supposed to be a camera club knowing what to do with
But
photography.
remember, this is not our location. We are limited to what the library
This
provides us.
thing can be moved.
Okay, I chose not to be on the screen. I chose for the slide to be what they saw. So that's my choice. So then, thank you.